right, now, let's move on and let's talk about Kim Kardashian, who went over there on Alex Cooper's show, the Call Me Daddy podcast, and basically told about the lasting impact on her toxic marriage to Kanye, and meaning she still finds it hard to date and detailing the struggles of co-parenting. Well, yeah, I guess it was easier when you were young and you didn't have no kids and you weren't married multiple times. But before she settled on Kanye and started having children, yeah, she didn't have to deal with that. But now it's like when you come with that baggage of Kanye and everything, I don't know if there's gonna be men out there that will want to date someone that will be seen as used goods, and it's no shade. I mean, but then again, look, the word on the curb is that Black China want to get back with Rob, so if they can make it work there. But then again, I'm not all for people going backwards with relationships because look, we saw what happened between Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. So I don't know if I would want to go backwards and get back together with my ex or whatever, especially when I dealt with what I dealt with at the time that I dealt with them. And yeah, I do agree. I do believe in people changing and growing and evolving and all that other stuff. But I don't know if I would want to. I don't. When it comes to relationships, I don't know if I want to go backwards. Look, this be the one time I take advice from Barack Obama. We don't look backwards; we go forward. I wish he wouldn't have did that when it came to politics and having people pray for those crimes that they did before he became president. But this time, I was like, I look forward. I don't go backwards. So now, during Wednesday, and that'd be today, episode of Call Her Daddy, host Alex Cooper asked her what was the final straw in her, and in their union, which she acknowledges was toxic at times. She said, there was just a lot of things that I couldn't deal with. I didn't like the feeling of someone talking bad about my kids, grandmother, aunts, all of those feelings. If someone feels that way, then we shouldn't wait, she said, then we shouldn't be together. Airing out a lot of personal stuff, she added, referring to the moment that West revealed Kardashian had considered having an abortion the first time they got pregnant. The Skims founder went on to say that not feeling safe emotionally and financially also made her reconsider their marriage. She went on to detail an instance where she would come home and they would have five Lamborghinis, and then the next day they would be gone and he was in an episode. Kardashian 44 recalled that he would give them away to all his friends before it happened a second time. You never know what you're going to get when you wake up, and that was really unsettling feeling, she noted. Lack of stability was a big thing. That during the chat, she revealed that her fear of being excluded from the fashion and art world that West had introduced her to following their divorce. Child, now I'm so glad she openly admitted that because I was sitting there thinking, I was like, now, I give it to you, niece. At least you admitted was something that I was thinking about too. That it was like, oh well, the only way that the fashion world and the Windsor all them took the Kardashians seriously was because Kanye had good rapport within the fashion world. So people was taking him seriously. He was in within the whole fashion elites. People kind of looked at them, these girls as the whores of Babylon. Like nobody was trying to F around with the Kardashians. But because she was on his arm, then it was like, okay, we'll ease up a little bit. We'll crack the door open just a little bit and let her come back. She got to skeet to the side to let all that ass in, but we'll just leave it slightly cracked. We'll open the door for you, but then once you come in, we're gonna crack it a little bit. Let her. She gonna have to slide on up in there. So they tolerated her. So where was I after I did that whole little read shenanigans? She said, however, some of her biggest projects came about after she made that decision. She said, it was the universe awarding me and showing me that I was moving in the right direction. And I think that's like a really important, powerful thing to pay attention to the signs and pay attention to life and what happens and how you could be guided to make really good decisions. But I have no regrets. I have four amazing, beautiful babies. And yeah, that is kind of ugly that he would go and reveal, oh, well, she wanted to abort she wanted to abort North. And it's my thing, and it's like, why would you even put that out there? Because I'm sure there have been many of women who, when they get pregnant, and because a lot of things are going on, and she probably dealing with a lot of stuff with him, but we wasn't aware of what was going on behind the scenes, that she was having doubts. And I'm sure there's many of women that have had doubts about whether or not they want to go through with a pregnancy, but eventually they either make the decision to abort or they make the decision to carry the child to term, and that's the most important thing. But Kanye want to be an asshole and put this stuff out here. She also said that he hasn't spoken to the kids in months, even though she tries to keep like a great relationship going on with them, but he hasn't really been in their life in a while. Um, she also based her decision to file for divorce on wanting to set a good example for their four kids, North, South, East, and West, or as we all know them as North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm. She said, once my mental health starts to get affected and I can't parent the way I need to and I can't be present or focused, there's gonna be one of us. There's got to be one of us that can. I had to save myself to be a better mom. And I think that when everyone's older, they'll be able to see it and understand it all. And yeah, so you can't have two crazies in the room together because it's like when your daddy's all having episodes and doing all kinds of stuff. Speaking of which, y'all be so quick to want to put Wendy Williams and Britney Spears in a 5150 hole or in a conservative or a guardianship. Why his ass ain't in one? Because all these things that he be doing, he definitely need to be put in a damn conservatorship or guardianship, whatever the hell you want to call it. So yeah, that was the best thing that she probably could have done was to get rid of him and all this other stuff because he got bipolar, and then bipolar disorder, and then said that he was autistic. No, you the R word, sir. You ain't no damn autistic. You come across like you could be the R word sometimes. But autistic, not one of them. Artistic, you pay people to create your art. So I don't think there's anything about Kanye that is relatively artistic. And y'all be calling him geniuses or whatever, but yeah, he good on the beats and doing all that production stuff. But I hated the fact that people threw around that word genius when it came to him. There was a lot of imposter syndrome and stuff going on. And you know what? At the end of the day, even if Kanye's not going to be there to be, for the kids, you I would say it takes a village to raise a child. So you can have people within your inner circle, be it Chris, the one that was married to Lucas Gage, the one that does your hair, which she did talk also about her how much money she spends and that whole machine of like the hair makeup and all that stuff. Um, Chris has two grown children. So if there needs to be people in your inner circle that know how to be that father figure for your children, then that's better than not having the daddy there at all. Because there's been a lot of situations like that where I know women who, yeah, the biological father may not be in the child's life, but there are men that are around, be it a grandfather or uncle or brother, whatever the case is, that could come across and be that mentor for your kids, or you put them in like programs. I remember when I was in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and it's like even though I had a dad, and I don't feel like there were times where he was always present when I was growing up. So my mother did put me in like a big brother, big sister program, and I got mentored and that sort of thing. So there was a lot of that going on. So it was like, but I understand now a lot of those programs that I was lucky to be a part of and to I guess we'll use the word take advantage of in the 90s. Those programs don't exist anymore because we have an administration that's trying to gut any kind of thing that's gonna help people move along and be a better person. Now, speaking of Kim's children, let's get into this story regarding Northwest. So she basically called Kim out for crying about, her father. Basically telling her to get over it by get over him by getting up under somebody new. So the 44-year-old reality TV star turned mogul got honest about her 7-year marriage to Kanye, or as I like to call him, Kanye, and what led to her to file for divorce. She admitted that while she's fine with being single, her firstborn, 12-year-old daughter, Northwest, has encouraged her to get a boyfriend. She revealed that preteen has accused her of pretending to be okay about her single status and told her, I think you go upstairs and cry at night. Her sassy daughter advised, it's time to move on. You need to have a boyfriend now. Kim and Kanye, well, we don't need to go into when they tied the knot and all this other stuff. I mean, she could be correct because we all know that Kim is kind of like For Lopez. They can't go 2 minutes without a man in between their legs. So, um, if you need somebody to make you feel good, like Halle Berry and Monsters Ball, then you need to get you somebody that's gonna make you feel good in between your legs. So, yo, I always tell you one thing about Northwest. Some of y'all may get irritated about her, and believe me, she does irritate me at times. However, that little girl, I really feel like is going to be the litmus test for Kim. Like Kim gets all these people that blow smoke up her behind and all this other stuff because they're on the payroll. But North is going to be the one that's going to tell her about herself and put her in her place. Be like, you know what, little girl, I mean, you may be my child, and I be wanting to wring your neck sometimes. But you're right when you're right. But we all know her dating history, how many men, she's dated a lot of men. She's been married to a lot of, she's been married quite a few times. But um, but funny enough, they said when she's ready to date, she wants someone who could stimulate her intellectually. Well, it's nice that as you get older, you start to think with the muscle up here instead of the one between me down there. Because I feel like you weren't really getting with a lot of men that would stimulate you intellectually. Now, as if her next boyfriend will be a rapper or athlete, the types of men she has historically been involved with, she answered neither. Yeah, you definitely need to grow up in regards of that. Like, leave the rappers alone, leave the athletes alone. There's a lot of baggage that comes with as a anybody that dates someone who is an athlete or a rapper. You got to deal with cheating. You got to deal with the fact that they're not always going to be emotionally or physically available because of the traveling and all that other stuff. So I wouldn't even risk it. You need something more than that. I mean, I don't know if you want to get with a tech CEO or something. Well, they're all trying to, buy up the government. So I don't know if that'd be a good idea. You want to get with somebody who's like a tech CEO. She also opened up about the Kardashian curse, the theory that every man who gets romantically involved with one of the Kardashian, we'll call them that, sisters suffers a fall from grace. Hitting back at the viral term, she said, I think it's really unfair to say that women are the problem when it comes to issues that our exes might be dealing with. There's such a fixation on what happened to the men as if there's no accountability on their part. Like it has to be, you're all so powerful that you did this to all these men and they have no hand in their life and they have no autonomy. Someone who doesn't take accountability is my biggest pet peeve and my biggest red flag. Well, sis, you was married to somebody who took no accountability for anything they did, and you was married to him for 8 years. So I'm glad you came to the revelation that you came to, and I'm glad that North set you straight and was like, sis, but you doing too much. Like, go get you a man to keep you distracted from getting on our nerves. And I feel like that needs to make you happy. But maybe Kim needs to get to a place where it's like, you know what? You don't need a man to complete you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that she'll need to be in a relationship or whatever, but don't get in a relationship for the wrong reasons where you feel like that um a man is gonna help fulfill that whatever it is that's going on inside of you, internally. And North is young. She's 12 years old. She doesn't really know much about love and and the complexities surrounding that. So she can say, hey, forever to say, like, yeah, go out and get a boyfriend. But being in a relationship is not gonna be able to fill the void that you need to work on, whatever type of deep rooted issues you got in your life, be it childhood traumas that Pimp Mama Chris put you through, or whatever the case is. That's just something she's gonna have to work out before she can even get to a place where she wants to jump back into the whole dating pool. So I'm sure if you go on YouTube, you can find the Call Me Daddy podcast episode with Kim on it up there, or whatever the case is. So y'all can go over there and look it up on YouTube. I'm sure if you feel like watching, you will do what needs to be done with that. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding what she had to say regarding her relationship with Kanye and Northwest saying that, well, I didn't get you some D. She ain't say all of that, but I'm just summing it up as that's what she was implying. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.